If I woke up tomorrow with no money, no audience, and no business, these are the first things that I would do. So a question you might ask yourself is, why should I listen to this guy who has a really low subscriber count, he doesn't have a big audience, and he is not really a big creator? And while all those statements are true, what is something that I have done is that I've actually done the thing that I'm going to explain in this video. So I started Nordic Dudes this way, and it's stuff that I've actually tried and it's actually worked for me. And it's steps that I've taken. So I'm hoping that by explaining this to you and you try this out, that hopefully it works for you as well. And I'm sharing what I learned along the way and how it worked out for me. So when I started this, I didn't start with just random ideas I had. I started looking at my own frustrations and things that pissed me off and made me frustrated throughout the day. So I would listen to my own language and see where I said, oh, I hate this, I don't like this, this is so difficult, this is so annoying, things like that. That's where I started. And then I would write down those instances throughout the day and when they happened and when I did what. Other things you can do as well is if you have certain interests. So for example, I'm into sports, I'm into travel, and I'm into business. So I would look at those instances in my life and see where I had frustrations, where things annoyed me, where did I complain, what ruined my day when I was doing those kind of activities. So to summarize, start with your own pains that you have in your life, things that frustrate you in certain areas, and whether that's sports or somewhere else. Just write all that down and then make sure that you document that on a piece of paper or in a notes app. And when you write down these ideas, it doesn't have to be like any good ideas or anything specific like that. You just write down what frustrates you. It can be a messy list. There doesn't have to be any filters or anything like that. Don't judge the ideas and think, oh, this is not a good idea, or this is not something I can build a business around. It doesn't really matter. The point of this is just to start brainstorming and get the juices flowing so you can start coming up with stuff that might be something good. So just write everything down. Just doesn't matter if you think it's good or bad. Write everything down. Talk to people in your community. So talk with your friends, talk with family members, talk with people maybe at work or people that you hang out with, and just see what their frustrations are. You can ask them questions like what they are annoyed about, what they complain about. Ask them the same questions that you asked yourself and see if there is a pattern when you talk with several people. Because if there is a pattern that shows that several people complain about something, then that could possibly be an idea to pursue. And obviously another important thing is to ask them if they've fixed it and if they've done anything about it. And if they did, how did that go? What happened? For example, like with us, there were a lot of people that said that they were also chafing and they had that problem, especially ice hockey players had that problem when they were swimming. So if there's a clear market signal, then that might be an indication that this is a good idea to pursue. So after you've picked your idea, then start to ask people for money early. Ask them if they would be willing to pre-order this, and then make sure that there's an actual monetary transaction, or they actually start a free trial, or buy your service once, or whatever it may be. Just have some form of money transfer, so you know that people are actually willing to pay money for it. Because the thing is that people can say that they think your idea is great and they love it and they think it's good and they say, oh, you should pursue this. But saying something like that and then actually giving you money are two different things. So we only count with Nordic Dudes pre-orders that were actual pre-orders when we got money. So if someone said they were going to pre-order but never actually did pre-order, then we didn't count that. So one very big key aspect that we have when we check the demand or validate an idea is that we make sure that there's actually a money transfer involved. Now, when it comes to determining what amount is sufficient to validate an idea, that kind of depends a little bit on what kind of product or service you plan on offering. So if you plan on offering a service that costs $3,000 and you get 2 people that order from you, then to me at least that would indicate that, okay, there's people who actually want this, because there's not a lot of people that would actually want to pay $3,000. Maybe even one is enough to validate an idea if they're willing to give you $3,000. But on the other hand, if you are making keychains and you only get 2 or 3 people that order from you, and maybe one keychain costs $5, then maybe that is not enough to validate the idea. So for example, with Nordic Dudes, we created this long list of people, and then we reached out to them, and obviously most people said no, they were not interested. We even had a friend who thought we were trying to scam him. But there were enough people who said that they were interested in this, so we got a couple of $100 in pre-orders. So I don't remember exactly how many people pre-ordered from us, but I think it was like 15, 20 people, something like that. And that was enough for us to say, okay, this doesn't confirm that this is $1 million idea, but it definitely confirms that there is some form of interest in this product and in this business. So the main thing to take away from this is that money is the only honest feedback, in my opinion, that you can get when you try to test, demand, and validate an idea. So with Nordic Dudes, this process, there were some people that were obviously a bit more difficult to sell to than others, but with Nordic Dudes, the process was relatively easy, but we also made it really easy for people to pay us. So what we did was we used something here in Sweden that's called Swish, but you can also use Venmo or something like that and take that as a transaction, just so they transfer a little bit of money to you, and make that process as easy as possible. Don't do complicated or anything like that. Let them pay with the app or in cash or something like that, and then use that as your pre-order, and then just document everything as well if you get pre-orders. So we put that all into a spreadsheet that we had on our computers, and then just document everything, so we knew what everyone ordered, what sizes they ordered, how much they paid us, etc., etc. So the main thing I want to highlight with this video is that don't listen to people who say that your idea or your business is great and they want to order your product or service once you launch, and not pre-order right now, because that could be a smokescreen that they have just to get you off their back. If they haven't given you any money for it, it doesn't count. That's the line. If they gave you money for it, then perfect, that's a pre-order. If they didn't, then it doesn't count. And then from there on, if your first choice of idea doesn't work out, then you just move on to the next thing on the list, and then you do the same thing and test that, and then you just keep doing like that until you find an idea that people are interested in and that actually validates or confirms demand or validates the idea. So these are the exact steps that I would use if I would start a business, and these are also the exact steps that I used when we started Nordic Dudes. So if I lost everything tomorrow, I wouldn't chase trends, I wouldn't build a logo, I wouldn't build a website. I tried to find painful things in my own life and other people's life, talk to people, and then ask people for money and see if they would pay for my pains or their pains or my ideas or whatever it may be. I tried to make these videos as valuable as possible and include my own experiences in building Nordic Dudes and my personal brand, and then try to share the things that I learned, the mistakes I made, and everything in between. With that, I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.